Hello and welcome to your July 24th daily briefing. Today we have some updates with the upcoming stimulus package regarding some pretty disappointing disagreements and delays with this package, but we also have some additional clarity as to what we can expect in the bill itself. I also have some additional clarity that you must stimulate the like button on this video before we get started. Okay, let's get into it. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and White House Chief of Staff Meadows all say they've reached a fundamental agreement on the next stimulus bill. They're now trying to finalize the text of the agreement, which will be released as a group of bills rather than one big package. Yes, they've decided several smaller packages are better than one big package. To each his own, I guess. Mnuchin said yesterday morning that teams worked late into the night Wednesday night, and all that was needed at that point was to go through the language of the bill. Well, unfortunately, it seems it didn't pan out to be quite that simple. We were expecting to see a big package reveal yesterday on the 23rd, but that just didn't happen. They have said that they have made good progress on the bill, but it won't be available for preview until early next week. And beyond that, certain pieces of the bill will be introduced on Monday, hopefully. You know, if only they had more time to put a deal together instead of rushing last minute. Oh wait, what about the last 3 months? Anyways, there have been a few major hang-ups as to why the bill has been delayed. First being the Trump administration asked for more time to review the plan before it is officially released, which I get that. Make sure your T's are crossed, your I's are dotted, but again, you had 3 months, fellas. Even more important than that is the holdup was mostly caused by differences in opinions over the extension of enhanced unemployment, especially with its deadline coming faster than you can say stimulus package. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of heated debate, a lot of politics, and a lot that needs to happen before the expiration date. A few legislators suggested, why not just give it a temporary extension for a week or two to allow for some more negotiation time? However, that was turned down quickly by both sides. Right now, it's expected that enhanced unemployment will continue, but at 70% of a worker's previous wages. And I feel the need to clarify here because I actually got this wrong yesterday. I thought the idea was to drop the weekly payment to 70% of the original payment, so going from $600 to $420, but I was incorrect there, so I apologize for that. The current plan would give workers 70% of their previous wage while on enhanced unemployment. The idea is 70% is enough to help those who absolutely need it to get by, but not enough to create that disincentive to return to work that many people are saying the $600 per week payment causes. This plan may only work in theory, though, because it would mean an enormous amount of additional workload for state unemployment offices. If it were to pass under this 70% rule, state unemployment offices would need to rework their decades-old systems, a process that has been estimated to take up to 6 months by some agencies. Mnuchin says that they have a potential technical fix to that problem, but noted that they also have a backup plan in place in case that doesn't work. The backup plan would likely be another flat payment of a smaller size than $600 a week, potentially $400 a week, something around there. We've heard some talk of $400 a week. Now let's go back a minute to the issue of Republicans and their desire for a bunch of smaller packages. Some Democratic members don't feel that this is the way it should be done. Nancy Pelosi has said we cannot piecemeal this, and Schumer has said we have to address it as a totality. Now, I can't see any big reason as to why going with multiple smaller packages would be an advantage or disadvantage for either party. It seems to me that the only reason would be to address the most pressing issues now, like enhanced unemployment, and worry about the less pressing issues in a week or two, just to give them a little bit more time and not have to rush everything right now. I just don't spot the political agenda there. So if any of you have thoughts on this, let me know as to why many Democratic members don't want to do it this way. It's important to note that Pelosi and Schumer have also blasted the Republican package in totality, citing that it is lacking in areas such as food assistance, rent and eviction assistance, funding for state and local governments, hazard pay, and funding for the complications with the upcoming voting in November with all this virus chaos going on. You know what? Now that I think of it, maybe Pelosi and Schumer are worried that if the Republicans pass a bill now with the promise of addressing other issues later, they may assume those issues, like state and local government funding, will never happen in the future if they don't happen right now. So maybe that's the political agenda. Still, let me know if you have any thoughts on that. So here is a quote from Pelosi for the upcoming Republican package. This is what she has to say about it. What we've seen so far falls very short of the challenge that we face in order to defeat the virus and open our schools and open our economy. So obviously she's not a big fan of the details she's received so far with this plan. So this might be not quite as partisan and cheery of negotiations as some Republicans are claiming things to be. All we know is there's a lot of debate still going on, and we may see some major changes before next week when we get the official unveiling of the package. One thing we do know is a payroll tax cut will not be part of the next bill. Steven Mnuchin was quoted saying a payroll tax holiday will not be in the base bill and could potentially be in one of those later smaller bills, but that's yet to be confirmed yet, potentially. President Trump was saying for months that a payroll tax holiday was a must-have for him on the next stimulus bill. However, it appears that he's changed his stance on this as he was unable to gather the necessary Republican support for the idea in order to get anything passed. To be honest, I've searched for this and I've been unable to find a single person voicing support for a tax holiday, at least publicly. The closest thing was Mnuchin, who was okay with it, but he never really seemed to be pushing for it either. He acknowledged that it may be good for the economy, but it never seemed like a pressing issue for him. I also want to address some of your questions that I've seen regarding the next stimulus check. As you probably know, the next check is all but signed into law. The House wants it, the President wants it, McConnell and the Republican Senate want it. Basically all of America wants it, both on the Democratic and Republican sides. Pretty much everyone wants another stimulus check. And Mnuchin said yesterday that we can expect a direct payment in August. I have a video on that just yesterday if you want more details on what exactly he said, his quotes, and what we can expect in August. That might be a little bit of a overzealous and hopeful timeline to get payments in August. I think it's possible if we get something voted in within the next week or so. If it's later than that, we might see somewhere around September before people are actually receiving payments in their bank accounts. And then, of course, a little bit further yet after that for people to actually receive paper checks. As we know, there was kind of like a trailing month or two where the majority of people didn't receive their paper checks for a while after most of those electronic payments were sent. Still not really sure if they're going to send out more debit cards or not. A major issue with the first stimulus package that is looking at being addressed in this next one is how can we ensure everyone actually receives their payment, because not everyone has actually received their payment on the first round. Many people have been told, well, you're going to have to wait for your 2020 tax return to receive payment. And that kind of goes against the whole point of a stimulus. It's like, hey, it's there to stimulate the economy right now, not next year. So that's another major issue that I hope to see addressed. But anyways, naturally, the confirmation of stimulus brings on questions. Some of the questions I've seen so far are, will adult dependents get a check? Will checks be garnished for child support again? Will injured spouses get a check or some form of payment? Many of these are the same questions as the first round. And the unfortunate answer to these questions as of right now is we can't know 100% for sure, but we can surmise a pretty good idea of what to expect. Mnuchin said yesterday that the check will be identical to the first round, a $1,200 one-time payment with the same income limits of $75,000 for single filers and $150,000 for couples. The fact that he said it will be identical allows us to assume some answers. This would lead me to believe that adult dependents would not get a check. They will be garnished for child support like the first round, and the same rules will be in place for injured spouses. Now, this isn't completely set in stone. I don't want to make that upset anyone, but as of right now, that's kind of the best information we have with them saying it's going to be identical to the first round. I would like to see this check more inclusive, including adult dependents, or at least a payment for adult dependents of $500, similar to what people receive for children. I just think that that's a glaring issue for those who, especially those who are caretakers of adults, that they don't receive that $500 payment just seems very unjust, unfair to me. But anyways, this is all of the most up-to-date information we have on the upcoming stimulus bill. Check out the link in my description for Webull to receive 2 completely free stocks. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a profitable day.